7:30 a.m, early January. The Red Arrows are returning to work after a 2-week Christmas break.
Right, fella, how's it going?
They've 4 months of training left before their landmark 2018 display season, when they'll be spearheading the RAF Centenary celebrations. Officer Commanding Andrew Keith, known as Boomer, takes the first briefing of the year.
All right, morning all, welcome back. First real week of 2018 training, so it's going to be a busy month and a busy week, so we'll make the most out of it when we can.
During their winter training, the pilots aim for 3 practice flights a day, 5 days a week. But the Lincolnshire weather rarely cooperates.
This time of year can be frustrating. I mean, this morning we may have some issues with some ice. It was quite cold last night, so the surfaces might be a bit icy. And then later on we've got a front moving up from the south, so that's going to give a layer of cloud for this afternoon's flying. It's the joys of January for you.
First snow and ice, then fog. Ground the aircraft days on end.
You fly 3 times a day, 5 days a week before Christmas, then you go away and do nothing for 10 days. Because the skills we have need to be repeated so often, it just takes that little bit longer to get back into the swing of things. So that, combined with the weather in January, always is quite a tricky month.
Skill fade is definitely an issue for the pilots. The longer we sit on the ground, the more we just sort of tread water. And the longer they sit on the ground, the more that skill fade then creeps back in. And when we do get a bout of good weather, we're just clawing back to get to where we were when we left off a month ago.
Eventually, they managed to get some jets airborne, but only for the pilots to fly to RAF Valley in Wales to train on their Hawk Jet simulator.
Is that your phone ringing?
Oh, is it mine?
But getting them back again proves a headache for Operations Officer Dave Platt.
Hello. Aye, the weather's going, innit? Right. We taff in red as well, so same as Waddington, they've gone down as well. We've let them know the situation, so they might well stay at Valley. Okay then, cheers, bye. The weather has deteriorated quite quick and a bit beyond what the forecast was, so unfortunately our aircraft will be staying at Valley. It might allow some of them with young children to get a good night's sleep. Put it that much.
The pilots finally make it home the next day, and with clear weather, resume training. For most of the winter, the Red Arrows train as 2 sections. The front 5, called Enid, concentrate on introducing the new pilots to formation aerobatics.
2 need to be a little bit more shallow generally, and that will now have to change when you're letting it out.
The most experienced pilots make up the rear element, called JIPO, after a previous team leader. They perform the most dynamic manoeuvres in the display.
Roll, go.
As a new member of the rear element, Toby Keeley has to master the advanced flying skills he'll need for these heart-stopping routines.
6, rolling, in.
One of the most difficult is flying upside down above another jet, much nearer to the ground than he's ever flown before.
Now the big challenge of inverted formation flying certainly will be the roll in. So you're in close formation and then you pitch up and roll at exactly the same time as the guy in front, so at the same time as Simon. So making that look symmetrical is quite difficult, because if I do a small pitch up and he does a big tweak up, that can get quite tasty. Maintaining that perfect formation inverted is pretty tricky. The stick moves in the opposite sense, so left stick input, the jet goes right, as you would normally expect it to go left, the right way up, and vice versa. So getting used to that was quite tricky. I wouldn't say I've had much time to sort of appreciate it at the time of flying, because you're just so focused on the actual manoeuvre. It's in hindsight, you look back and you think, oh, that was really good fun, and a real privilege to be able to do that.
It's a steep learning curve, but inverted flying with just SI is only the first step for Toby. In the mirror flat manoeuvre, the other two pilots must fly directly beneath them, merely feet away.
I think the main challenge for that is I'm inverted on top of Matt, but then Matt is trying to formate on me while trying to contort his neck and look up at the same time. So that's quite difficult, obviously, in the fact that he's not an owl. It's actually quite a difficult position to be in for him.
6, rolling, in.
It's quite an unnatural position to be in because normally I'm just trying to look forward for the best view, but in this particular move, I'm looking straight up. I've got to put my helmet over to one side in order to be able to look straight up at Simon, and it's one of those that if my neck doesn't hurt, I'm in the wrong position. So as long as I've got a bit of an ache in my neck, I know I'm looking and I'm generally in the right place.
There's actually no smoke and mirrors in that manoeuvre. It is literally me right on top of Matt. There's about 7-8 feet between us. You always say you have a little wave to the guy below you. Unfortunately, I don't have the capacity or the inkling to look down at Matt. I'd rather not, to be honest. I'd rather just fly as stable as I can, and then it's over pretty quickly.
6, rolling, out.
One awesome piece of flying is ticked off, but on his next sortie, Toby will attempt the most physically brutal manoeuvre of all. Corkscrew. The 4 Red Arrows pilots who make up the rear section perform the team's most dynamic and difficult manoeuvres. And Corkscrew is the most physically brutal of them all. 2 pilots, Toby and Si, fly upside down, while Matt and Bogeye roll round and round their smoke.
We're looking for contour-rotating manoeuvres 4 times around 6 and 7 smoke. 8 and 9 should be above the smoke at the same time, and then below the smoke at the same time, and contour-rotating as we go round, and doing that 4 times, and then finishing at the same time. If you see it in the season, then we're doing it right.
It feels like a washing machine experience. It's pretty much an assault. It's the same as any job, you just get used to it, and clearly you just need to give it the respect it deserves.
Complete. 6, rolling, out.
Throughout training, the Red Arrows use their famous smoke. Turning it on and off with precision is a skill they have to perfect. And in head-to-head manoeuvres, the smoke is vital for the pilots to see one another.
Flash out! Flash out!
For winter training, they only use white smoke. But after a long display season, it doesn't always work perfectly.
Fuck's sake, that white spot's on this jet.
Smoke system overhauls are carried out by the dye team.
We are the team responsible for creating smoke, the red, white and blue that you see coming out of the aircraft. This is our smoke pods that we fit to the bottom of the aeroplanes. They come in, get stripped apart, cleaned, put back together, valves, O-rings and stuff all get changed. We'll put it back together, test it, and then it'll strap it to the bottom of the aeroplane again, and that's when you'll see it in the displays. The diesel and dye mixture is pumped through the aircraft, and then it's pointed out into the jet efflux, essentially the jet engine's exhaust, which vaporises it, and that's what creates the puffy red, white and blue smoke. This front section here, between my hands, that's actually the red tank. You can see it's quite small, and this gives us enough of a mixture to give us 1 minute only of the red colour. Then from here, all the way back to here, that is the white tank. As you can see, it's significantly bigger than the red, and therefore it gives us 5 minutes of white smoke during the display. And then moving back once more, from here to here is actually the blue tank. It's exactly the same size as the red tank, and also gives us 1 minute of blue smoke during the display. Pilots carefully plan their display to have the most visual impact that they can, and they'll use the red and blue when they're directly in front of the crowd, mainly, and then when they're off doing other things, that's when you'll see more of the white smoke. The I-Team, it's one of the best jobs on the Red Arrows, in the fact that we're kind of our own bosses when we're on the road. We have to make decisions, and it's quite good to sort of solve your own problems and think on your feet a little bit.
Using smoke is a key skill the team's new pilots, Starkey and Bondy, have to learn. Now 3 months into their training, they've been introduced to all the aerobatic manoeuvres they'll be flying, apart from one. Today, they'll face perfectly timing their smoke while performing by far their most difficult and daunting manoeuvre, rollbacks. Flying at 300 feet, pairs of jets take turns to pull up, roll around the aircraft next to them, then slot back into the rear of the formation. Get the technique wrong, there's a risk of entering an unrecoverable spin, or of colliding with the other aircraft.
Rollbacks is quite challenging. It's the one that we leave till the very end. Yeah, the guys tend to put a bit of self-induced pressure on because of stories of old. So yeah, it is a milestone for the guys. Unfortunately, there was a fatality back in the 80s, but because of this story's grown over the years, it's almost built this aura of being the most difficult manoeuvre in the Red Arrows.
In the 80s, the team suffered 2 accidents in quick succession, practicing rollbacks. In November 1987, 2 jets collided. Both pilots successfully ejected. One jet crashed into a field, but the other struck a row of houses.
From a normally tranquil close, the area was transformed as fire tenders, ambulances and an air-sea rescue helicopter hovered overhead.
Incredibly, no one on the ground was hurt. But just 2 months later, pilot Neil McLaughlin was tragically killed when his jet entered a spin while he performed a rollback. Like Bondy and Starkey, it was Neil's first year in the team.
3, 2, 1, hack. 8:45, morning gents. Rollbacks, okay? Let's not make a massive thing out of these. They are simple manoeuvres that have built up this aura of being the most difficult thing we have in our quiver. It is the most difficult thing you have, but you'll learn from these guys the procedural technique to get on with it, and also, more importantly, how to get out of it if you're getting into any trouble. As long as
For their first attempt at rollbacks, the new pilots will have experienced Red Arrows Dan Lowes and Matt Masters in their back seats.
8 is in 2's back seat and 5 is in 3's back seat. Obviously with 9.
Rollbacks, probably the manoeuvre that we're most anxious about getting done, and it'll be nice to get those under the belt.
3, roll, go.
Barrel rolling that close to another aircraft is something we're simply not used to doing. We haven't done before, so there is certainly a healthy amount of nerves involved before you do it for the first time.
Good stuff. Best luck. We'll check in at minute 15, please.
Right, enjoy.
For safety, on this first sortie, they'll be rolling one at a time, rather than in pairs. Officer Commanding Boomer has come to keep an eye on his new recruits. 11 years ago, he was in their shoes.
I experienced it all, so remember it well. Same nerves before that first sortie to go up and see. You have no idea how it's going to turn out.
Right now.
Matt, who's Red 8, was in my back seat, experienced pilot on the rollbacks, and he was there for primarily safety reasons. It's my first go, so he demoed me the rollback first.
Right, so I'll be following the crew on the controls on me so you can see what I'm doing. Roll, the clutch, then slide it down the barrel. Arrestable power.
Next, Dan Lowe's demo for Starkey. The roll is far too big. It's safe, but puts Lowesy far below and behind the formation.
Fucking hell. That was a demo. You got to laugh at Lowesy's first rollback. Fuck me. Poor old Starkey's got to learn off of that.
I ain't saying anything.
Yeah, my first demonstration, it was not the best, I'd say. I had to re-demo it. And that just shows you how quickly and how difficult that manoeuvre can be. The tiniest change of input, and that had a huge effect in the actual demo itself. The second demo went well.
There's not much between success and failure with rollbacks. It can be such a minor change to change the whole manoeuvre. So you can lose it very easily by just a small margin. So it's a tough one for them.
Demo's over, it's the new pilot's turn. First up, Bondi.
Individual rollback practice.
Yeah, the adrenaline was flowing on that first rollback.
Okay, Bondi, you have control. I have control. Whoa, go! Great effort, Bondi. Thank you. Well done.
Once I'd had the first practice and didn't scare myself or Matt too much, then excitement gradually won over the nerves.
Next up, Starkey.
Free, how are you? That's the most adrenaline I think I've ever felt in a jet, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. How was your first demo, number 5? Yeah, about that.
Well, I think we're still talking, so so it's yeah, it's a tricky manoeuvre to get right all the time, but it was thoroughly enjoyable, and I don't think we have to change our underwear just quite yet.
It was really enjoyable. The difficult part actually is following the rollbacks and doing a normal formation flying, because you're still sort of on a come down from the rollback, so that'll take some getting used to as well, I think.
Right, welcome back. Rollbacks put to bed. It's self-induced pressure that builds up the rollbacks. As you saw, it's actually quite procedural. For their first rollbacks, that was a great effort by the guys. The guys are going to critique themselves like crazy, but they were exactly what I asked them to be. Safe, consistent, flown every time, and that is all I need at the moment.
Good effort all round, I thought, for our first trip of rollbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really solid rollbacks in there. That's good to see. What I want you to do is go and do the same again. Well done.
On number 3.
100 miles away, other members of the Red Arrows team are training for the 2018 display season. Each year, 10 engineers are selected to fly in the back seats of the jets to service them when they land away. Known as Circus, the new members have come to RAF Henlo's Centre for Aviation Medicine. It's where aircrew learn to recognise one of the most deadly threats they face: hypoxia, oxygen starvation.
All right, ladies and gents, if you want to grab a helmet from here, supposedly one size fits all. We'll find out in a minute.
Above 10,000 feet, the air is so thin that aircraft must either have pressurised cabins or the aircrew must wear oxygen masks.
So if you want to try and put those on for us, please. If anybody struggles, just let us know.
Thank you. Just look at that wall for me.
If the oxygen fails, the result is hypoxia.
Okay, just hold that up to your face for me.
Activate the anticipation valve.
If the engineers can recognise the symptoms quickly enough, they can take action. And the best way for them to learn is to experience hypoxia themselves. They take turns in a rig where their oxygen is gradually reduced. Everyone reacts differently.
Starting off at 10,000 feet, let's do the colour ball activity now, matching the shape.
Some struggle with a toddler's toy.
There's like 2 pentagons, and like I was trying to, like, there was just one was slightly bigger, so I was trying to put in the same one for ages, and then I realised there's another one.
Take a moment just to reflect on how you're feeling now.
And others become befuddled.
Weird. Just, yeah, quite lightheaded, I guess.
It was okay. It was just like being a little bit drunk, really.
Quite a nice feeling then, don't you?
Yeah, normally pay for it.
Before the symptoms become too severe,
Okay, we'll put you back on oxygen now.
they return to full oxygen.
Just give a clear thumbs up when you feel back to normal.
Recovery is nearly instant.
Okay, we'll get you out of the rig.
A flight simulator is used to teach pilots how quickly they become disorientated during oxygen starvation.
How are you feeling now, Sergeant Allen?
Circus Sergeant Will Allen wants to give it a go. In less than a minute, he's upside down.
So you're rolling the aircraft now.
Then crashes. But doesn't even notice.
On oxygen now.
At the time I thought it was quite good because obviously I didn't feel any effects, didn't notice it whatsoever, sort of lack of oxygen. Just nothing, absolutely no symptoms at all. From what I've seen from the plane footage of me actually flying it, I was suffering the effects quite badly. I suppose at the end of the day I'm an engineer, not a pilot, and that's what it boils down to. That and the lack of oxygen.
Hypoxia training complete, they're now one step closer to the back seat of a Red Arrow jet. The Red Arrows are due to spearhead the RAF's 2018 centenary celebrations.
Can I just take a minute of your time? Is that all right? You got,
yes, boss.
You got 5 minutes or
So team leader Purty is designing a new centenary themed manoeuvre for the display.
Grab a seat.
He's briefing his senior pilots, Mike Bowden and Matt Masters.
So the start of the second half is a new manoeuvre, which we're going to call the Centennial Split. So just to explain to you what's going to happen, we're all going to pull up in a loop as a 9 ship, and then Enid are going to split first, okay? And it's going to be in the colours of probably whites, and then blues in the middle. Jippo are going to fly all the way over the top of the loop, and then as they effectively point towards the ground, they'll then split out. All right, so you get this kind of flourish of colours in front of you. So that's my take on the sort of traditional 100th. But did you guys have any good thoughts?
We've had a think. Being the RAF centenary, we thought, wouldn't it be great to try and generate a way of displaying 100 in the sky?
Yeah, okay.
So I put something on paper.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd like to take a look.
Yeah, let's look.
So the idea being, we rejoin the formation lined up here to generate the 1, then the 0, then the 0. Now, clearly, the smoke plan will be smoke on, smoke off, smoke on, smoke off, smoke on, smoke off, smoke on, smoke off, smoke on, smoke off.
How many button presses does number 3 have?
So, yeah, so you've got 5 smoke events, 10 button pushes that need to be timed perfectly as a formation.
My worry would be as our smoke, as you know, it never really crisply ends. There's always a little bit of a trail. My worry is that we'll just end up, this will just be a bit of a mess and end up just being a sort of blob of white.
One small mistake or one drag of smoke, we can make it look like 108 or 188 very, very easily.
Yeah.
It's a good consideration, though. It's good to see you put something together.
Thanks.
Purty has a slightly simpler idea.
The obvious options are 2 aircraft, line astern, probably slightly offset for width. They both pull up into a loop, and then somebody just to pull up in the vertical. And that could be a really easy way to do it.
It'd be nice to do something extra bit special, wouldn't it, if we can.
Yeah.
The 100 manoeuvre would be performed by the senior pilots of the rear section, led by Cy Taylor.
Got a minute? We have just been talking through some of the options for the 100th year. Matt had a pretty harebrained idea, but having not been all for trying to get 100th in the sky, I think we probably could do it. Whoever the rear two are, just fly a normal loop of some sort. You know, it might not be a perfect circle.
2 zeros and then you
2 zeros, and then you just have someone go straight up.
So let's have a think about it. And so 6 running down the line.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone off crowd.
Yeah.
And then someone on crowd potentially. So I'll give them enough room.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
So if 6 and let's say this is either going to be 7 or 8 probably.
Whoever's got
best
limited
amounts
on
of
fuel.
smoke left.
Yeah.
So 1 loop there.
Yeah.
1 loop there.
Yeah.
And then you've got the person here then just pulls up into there.
Yeah.
I think it's doable.
All right.
If we've got the weather this afternoon, we'll go for it.
Some blue sky out there. Great. Thanks very much.
No worries, boss.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Blue, cloudless sky is perfect to test the manoeuvre because the 100 will be 5,000 feet tall.
We're going to try and give the 100 a go. We've got the weather for it. We might need to tinker with it a little bit, but we'll give it a go and see what it looks like.
The big boss, Boomer, joins the sortie to see if the idea is going to fly.
We're just sort of experimenting at the moment and see if it will work out for the season.
Red 10, the team supervisor Adam Collins, will watch from the ground, getting an audience's perspective. The 3 jets approach the airfield at 100 feet and 350 miles an hour.
And pulling up.
2 pull into huge loops. As they reach the top, Bog-Eye in the 3rd jet pulls into a vertical climb.
It's a mixture of looking at the instruments, looking outside, checking my height that I put the smoke on and off at the right time, and then just trying to hold it as steady as I can so it doesn't look like a worm going up the sky and it's actually a straight number 1.
Any prints on that? I guess I had my smoke off to begin with. I definitely had the white lights on.
Yeah, I think it's got mileage. It needs to be much more standoff, and we need to work on the smoke timings because it ended up more like a 99. Which is ironic, but there we go.
Problem is, conditions like today are almost ideal, and it's still coming out with a misshapen 0. So I think standing it off a bit further away from the crowd and the right conditions, it could look good.
I think we're just going to have to tweak it and get it to look as good as it can do. And then hopefully we can do it as many places as possible if the weather allows and the sites where we display allow. So fingers crossed. I think it will look good. It's just a case of just fine-tuning it now, like everything with the display.
A bit of tweaking, I think, will be there. Yeah. But I think the fact that you can see it being drawn means your eye kind of draws the bit. Yeah.
The new circus engineers have now come to RAF St Morgan in Cornwall,
But importantly, just with a cardboard sheath, you've got a razor blade.
where fighter pilots are trained to survive following an ejection.
Stand by, go, squeeze, we'll take the arms and the legs. And legs together, better.
Because they'll be flying backseat, circus engineers also need training in parachuting and sea survival.
Right, so you're flying along, low level over water, you have a problem, eject, eject, eject. Similar ejection.
The jets carry small rafts in their PSP, personal survival pack.
Nice and tight. Feet make contact with the water. Now, big spread. Make sure that PSP is between your legs, chin on your chest.
It dangles behind the aircrew's legs as they parachute down after an ejection.
That's it, good. Drop that now, round to the back. Locate your mine baker at the back. Release the PSP. Well, yeah. Good. From there, round to the front. Locate your QRF. Quarter turn to the left. That's it. And drop that.
The engineers now need to learn how to get out of their parachute in water.
Dan in particular, Dan's really excited by it.
Are you done?
Yeah. No.
Parachute position. Feet make contact with the water now.
They're pulled across the pool to simulate being dragged along by their billowing parachute.
Yeah, move on. Down the back plate. Press it, wriggle free out of the harness, wriggle free. Turn left.
Once out of their harness, they need to get into their life raft. Which isn't as easy as it sounds.
Because I'm obviously quite a big lad and the life raft's quite small, I struggled a little bit with that, just getting in and out.
My boat's too small, it's broken. I couldn't get my valve to work to bail out, and I couldn't get myself underneath the cover. It's quite small, and I'm not. So, but we got there in the end.
Start working it.
The pool was tough enough, but tomorrow they'll do it all again, in the sea. "200 miles north at RAF Valley in Anglesey, the Red Arrows pilots also undergo their annual sea survival training. You'd think if anyone was immune to motion sickness, it would be the Red Arrows. But you'd be wrong.
I would say none of us have sea legs, so it's definitely in our interest to take a seasickness tablet before we go. I certainly have.
Down in Cornwall, it's the engineers' first ever sea survival exercise. So, there's significantly more nerves.
Right, this morning. Fry up and a coffee. You'll probably see in a couple of hours what I have for breakfast.
Not helped by the weather.
So we're about to go out to sea, put the drills to the test now. Absolutely dreading, not going to lie. Sea state's, what do you say, sea state 5?
5.
Which is, I think, 1.5, 2 metre waves.
And 40 knots wind.
40 knots, yeah. I've been pushing to just stay in the harbour and do it in there, but I don't think that's happening. We are actually going out to sea.
Because it's rough today, it's going to feel realistic for sure.
Team Sergeant Will volunteers to go first.
Once they're ready for him, he'll...
A little reluctantly.
Actually pretty nervous now. No?
Video of me look petrified.
Feet make contact with the water. No!
This time, they're pulled behind the boat to simulate being dragged by their parachute.
No!
Once in their rafts, with everything correctly inflated, the engineers are collected by the safety ribs.
Okay, prepare for winching.
But in North Wales, the pilot's rescue is significantly more dramatic. They're combining their training with the Coast Guard. Off the Cornish coast, the engineers' sea training is over.
That's fun.
Quite enjoyed it, bobbing around.
And one more. Lehman.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
They're now ready for their first flight in a Red Arrow. For the pilots, it's straight back to training, with the start of the display season just 8 weeks away. The Red Arrows are just 2 months away from their first display of 2018. For the last 4 months, they've trained as 2 separate sections. Team leader Purty has decided they're ready for a landmark flight. Today, for the first time, he wants all 9 aircraft to fly as a single formation.
Flying our first 9 chip marks the start of everything about Red Arrow's season. It is what the guys are aspiring to from the day they start training here in November. Now, we might go out and just fly 9 aircraft and do no aerobatics. We'll just get 9 aircraft airborne in a safe formation, but it really does mark a turning point in our next development of the training.
Purty may be ready to fly 9 jets, but with only 3 hours to launch, he's only got 8. Because a serious fault has just been discovered with an aircraft's hydraulic system.
The charging point for the main accumulator, all the insides have come out, so they've come in today. Got to stores, got a new one and replaced it.
2 hours later, the hydraulics are fixed. Just as the pilots head to their briefing. There's still a final rush to get the jet serviced ready to fly.
Monday, I think we pretty much only had about 6 or 7 aircraft actually that we could rely on them being serviceable. So to get all 9 ready for today was a really good achievement. So really pleased for the guys because it's, you know, everyone is really proud that we've managed to achieve that today. It's not just about the pilots in the air flying them, it's about the guys on the ground making sure the aircraft are serviceable and ready.
Welcome all. Aim of the sortie obviously is the first 9 ship. Big milestone for us, but it is a normal sortie for all of us. Hazards today, cognitive error, potentially 8-9, just calling someone else's radio call sign that you've been used to so far. For everyone else, it's just now remembering that we are the full 9. Our SOPs cater for all of that, so as long as you stick to the book, you'll be absolutely solid.
9 jets are ready in time, but the rush was unnecessary.
Looking at 1900, overcast at 2-4.
Because the Lincolnshire weather intervenes once again.
Wasn't it?
Right, unfortunately it's not fit, so we're not going to go now. What we're going to do is we'll delay. So down tools for the moment, sorry about that.
We've had our cloud base lowering and visibility dropping, but at least by 2 o'clock we should have much better weather and give ourselves a better chance of getting this 9 chip in.
An hour later, with the weather still far from perfect, Purty decides to give the go-ahead for takeoff.
I'm really excited about the first 9 ship. It's going to be a milestone moment for Bondi and I think. It's proof that we've met the standard so far, but the boss is happy putting together that Diamond 9, and that'll be a big moment. I think it's a big moment for any year for the Red Arrows.
For the first time, the 2018 team are smoke on in the iconic Diamond 9 formation. It goes so well, Purty decides they're ready to try the more complex formations. Lightning. And Phoenix. Purty's even confident enough to perform the breathtaking Tornado.
Another last. Last first 9.
We've got guys who are leaving who will, remember this day for the rest of their life. But flip side of that is Bondi and Starkey, who this is their first 9 ship that they've flown in a formation aerobatic team, you know, what better way to do it with 8 of your buddies? And again, they're probably overwhelmed by their emotions over the next 24 hours and realise they've done it, and they are definitely chipping away at the next stage.
It was quite funny today. People were playing it down this morning, saying it's no big deal, it's just a 9 chip, don't treat it as anything unusual. There's a definite buzz in the air, I think. And certainly afterwards, everyone was celebrating as if it was a big deal. So there you go. Maybe they were downplaying it to manage our expectations, but yeah, it was a huge moment, I think.
Oh no, mate.
It feels like a massive deal purely because we've flown in formation with 9 other aeroplanes. I've dreamt of doing that since I was a young kid, and you know, to get to do that today for the first time is awesome.
You know, it's a great moment in my career, and it just marks the start of a fantastic 3 years.
Next time, the team suffer a terrible tragedy.
As you'll be aware, on Tuesday, one of the squadron's aircraft crashed at RAF Valley.
The Jets are grounded, throwing the 2018 season into jeopardy.
We will grieve for some time, but we will also get back to what we need to do.